Two backs in the backfield. Lonnie Shin in at tight end. Lions have a screen set up. This is well developed. Here's Brandon Hayes, gets a block, and he takes it down the McNeese sideline, cuts it back 25-20, back inside 10-5, house.
My goodness.
Brandon Hayes. And the Lions have opened up an industrial-sized can here at Cowboy Stadium. My goodness.
Welcome to another edition of the Southeastern Sports Network podcast as we march into week 6 of the college football season. Robbie Rhodes with you, along with Voice of the Lions, Mark Willoughby. Happy to have with us here on another great week. Lions get a big win over at McNeese State and Lake Charles, moving the record to 4-2 on the season, 2-0 in Southland Conference play. Lions are on the bye this week, so no opponent this coming Saturday. Take some time to get healed up and get back on track for a tough final stretch of the last 6 ball games. Include some tough road games, some good key home games in that stretch too, and hopefully ending with the Southland Conference Championship in November. Thanks for being with us tonight. Looking forward to another great show. And it's now time for our guest segment. It's brought to you by Gateway Ford in Ponchatoula. Go check out their website at gatewayford.net for all the best inventory. They got new vehicles coming in every day. Can't beat the 2026 miles that are coming out, and great financing options there at Gateway Ford in Ponchatoula. Go find out their inventory at gatewayford.net. And don't forget, Gateway gives the deal. Our special guest this week is one of the newest members of the Southeastern Louisiana Hall of Fame. Former linebacker for the Lions in 2012 and 2013, Cqulin Hubert is with us tonight. Cqulin, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Happy to have you. Looking forward to visiting with you this evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys.
Well, Q, Hall of Fame, but we kind of talked about this off the air, but you were part of a group of guys that was brought in here in 2012 with Coach Roberts that started this this climb of Lion football in a time when it was, not where it needed to be as a program, and a couple down years here and there as every program has. But you were part of this group that changed the culture and started your time here. You were at Texas Tech before coming to Southeastern. I guess give us your overall memories of when you first came here and how you watched the culture change, and because you were here before guys like Brian Bennett and Xavier Roberson, guys like that. You kind of lifted this program up as a leader from the beginning. Just talk about when you first got here and watching that increase, which came in and finished for you with a conference championship and a run in the FCS playoffs. Yeah,
well, when I first got there, man, it was kind of rough on me at first. I had to learn that I had to buy in with those coaches there, Coach Robbs and Coach Scott. It was more of a trust thing with me, but it was some great guys on the team, and everybody that was there, they all wanted to win, and they were so happy that they was getting this new coaching staff in, and I was so happy to be playing with guys like Devin Walker and Robert Alford. So I surrounded myself around Robert Alford and Devin Walker as much as I could, because those guys was really, really good at what they were doing, and also they had goals. They wanted to. Robert Alford every day he always talked about going to the NFL, and then from there after that year we had a great run. We had a great run that year. It was pretty cool. We won some big games with Robert Alford with the interception in McNeese. Some cool stuff. I was so excited to see our punter too when I came down there to Hammond. To see him there, and we talked about the plays that he made during the McNeese game as well. And but yeah, we had a great year that year, and then the next year coming up, it was about the recruiting. The recruiting stage. We had guys like Brian Bennett himself. Isaiah was trying to come in, and Xavier Roberson, and I just made a great connection with these guys, and I told these guys what I wanted to do here. And I told them that what I needed, and I wanted to, bring the community together and, change this place. Because, I was tired of seeing all the LSU stuff everywhere without seeing the SLU stuff. So I knew what we had to do to make that happen. So I went out and help my coaching staff. That's what I feel like a great player is supposed to do. Help out your coaching staff and do your best to make this team great. And that's kind of what I did. And I was happy with the outcome.
You guys going back to the 2013 season, Sam Houston State, which I know you're familiar with them, being a guy from Texas and everything like that, and what they did kind of leading up to that. Well, you guys in 2013 had to kind of dismantle a giant. I mean, they had been in the national championship the last 2 years in 2011 and again in 2012. And you guys not only had to beat them once to win the conference championship, but you had to beat them again to advance in the FCS playoffs into that third round in the national quarterfinal game. What do you remember about those games? I remember the playoff game being a cold, rainy night, but it was mainly that first game, kind of getting over that hump. I remember the students rushed the field when y'all sealed up the conference championship that night. Just talk about those two games. The regular season one to win the conference title and the playoff game, and kind of that monkey, or not really monkey off the back, but kind of like just the getting over that hurdle for the program at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm gonna talk about the prior year before that with Evan Walker and Robert Alford and those guys. So we went down there to Huntsville and they ran it.
That's right.
And that's the game that I kept in my mind going and playing those guys. So, but that regular season game, man, Sam Houston was a great team, dude. They was really good. They had some really great athletes, and we just came out there and we bought in, and that goes back to trusting that coaching staff. I mean, you can see what the coaching staff is now. Those guys were amazing, man. It was just by buying in and, working on yourself. But the memories were amazing, I remember making that stop on the 4th and 1, stopping Tim Flanders, which was one of the greatest running backs that I think I played there in the FCS. And giving the ball back to Brian Bennett, giving Brian Bennett a chance to go down there and score, go down there and score. And just seeing the students rush the field and just the community cheering and everybody coming together, man, it was just a beautiful thing. And I was so happy to do it for Hammond America.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, let's drill down back on how you got here. Obviously, you played at Texas Tech, Big 12. I've been to Texas Tech. We played there in 2006. It's obviously Big 12 facilities, and you make that leap of faith. You're in back then there was no transfer portal, but you make yourself available. You're transferring, and you decide to come here of all places. And this is before Southeastern was on the map. You had a Robert Alford who was here, but not a household name, obviously. But you came here. What spurred that decision? That leap of faith to come here and trust these coaches?
Yeah, coming from Texas Tech, man, Texas Tech was amazing. And I still got love for Texas Tech. Texas Tech still have love for me. And, I still go back there and visit, and same with Southeastern. But when I made the transition, my first coach that I talked to was Coach Lacey. Coach Lacey was the very first person that I talked to, and I built a connection in with him. And then I started talking to Coach Pete Golden. I mean, if you know Coach Golden, who wouldn't want to play for this guy? You know what I mean? So man, when I met Coach Golden, man, and Coach Golden was saying that, he was from this area and he was telling me everything they wanted to do. Man, I just trusted those guys. I just felt like I was at home, and there was some people that I wanted to play for. And I knew going with those guys that I was going to learn a lot, and I was really amazed though, because I learned so much at Southeastern on, how to play the game. And I'm so thankful for Pete Golden and, even Coach Tony, Patrick Tony, Coach Tony and Coach Scott. So that's kind of what made me come to Southeastern.
Well, Pete, awesome. Coach Golding is this high now. I knew him since he was like this high when he was really small. But, his dad go way back. But you talk about that coaching staff. Obviously, Ron Roberts, now the defensive coordinator at Florida. Pete Golding at Ole Miss. You've got Patrick Tony. I guess, is he in the NFL now? I know he's been a lot of places. And Carl Scott in the NFL, in Alabama and Minnesota, I guess Seattle. And it's hard to keep up with where they are now, but just so many guys coaching in the NFL or major college football. And then you had a teammate who's coaching in the NFL, and John Graves as well.
John Graves, that's amazing.
Yeah, just talk about that development and being around those coaches.
Man, being around those coaches it was truly, truly amazing, guys. Like, man, I actually learned more at Southeastern than I feel like that I learned at, Texas Tech. I mean, these coaches were amazing, you guys. I'm telling you, like, these coaches, they they had their coaching clinics and everything just perfectly, dude. Like, and they made it simple. And that was the thing that I needed, I needed to be able to play fast, and not think, so, being around those guys, I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was a family too, that was the cool thing. They weren't just coaches, they were player coaches, the term we used. There was those player coaches, man, and that's what you need. You need those player coaches, and you need those players to, trust that and always respect their coaches, even though their coaches are player coaches. And that's one thing Coach Rob has made sure of.
You were inducted this year into the Southeastern Hall of Fame. Obviously, I know that has to mean a lot to you and your family, but just talk about how I know I read kind of some of your write-up, kind of the questionnaire they had for you. But
I was on the committee, by the way, just so you know, they voted for you. So.
I appreciate it, man.
You know that. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Just talk about when you got that call. What was the first emotion that came to your head when you got the notice that you were going into the Hall of Fame?
Man, I was shocked, man. And I was just grateful. Being the first person to be in my family, the only person to ever be in my family to be a part of a Hall of Fame for a university is just amazing, right? And then I just started looking at, going back, looking at all the film, looking at the highlights, and just thinking about all the guys that are already in the Hall of Fame. And I was just grateful, man, and just thankful to be a part of that.
And just talk about the weekend when you came, the jacket ceremony and the game itself. Just, talk about, did you get to visit with Coach Selfo at all? And just talk about the weekend that you were in Hammond for that Hall of Fame presentation.
Yeah, so it was beautiful. It was really beautiful, man. The presentation was very beautiful. It was so much love, man. So many people was just so happy to see me, and even Rumi was happy to see me. So I was happy about that. And we had an amazing time at the football game. The atmosphere was beautiful, man. Just to see how things grew, the lights in the stadium. I went up to the suite, it was just really nice, man. The people were very, very nice. And I really didn't get too much of a chance to speak with Coach. But I talked to a couple of guys that was on the field. I got a chance to talk with Caleb. I like that kid. That kid's really, really good. And awesome. He got a great potential. I hope he wins the Southland Defensive Player of the Year. That would be really great. Yeah, that'd we need another one of those. So I'm pulling for Caleb, man. So, and I also like number 1, the receiver. He was great too, really great kid. But it was amazing, man. I had a lot of fun out there. So I was happy.
Awesome. I'm glad that was good for you.
I mean, we've got a million questions to ask you. I know we can't ask them all in the limited time that we have. I do have one that I do want to ask before we get off here while I'm thinking about it. I know Robbie's thought of it, and Alan Waddell, who's not on with us tonight. But do you remember UAB when you played UAB, the coin toss? What do you remember about the coin toss?
Oh, I remember everything. I remember everything. And I remember the kid coming after the game talking about he was talking trash at the coin toss. It was crazy, man. He got him a little interception.
We tell that story all the time, because in retrospect, it's hilarious. At the time, it was, of course, what happened during the game. But I remember the referee's mic was still on. And, when we win the toss, what did you say? Tell the fans at home what you said, if you remember.
What did I tell them?
I think you said, we want the ball because you don't have any defense.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I told them.
And it goes throughout the whole stadium. Exactly everybody heard it. You heard it at home on radio. I'm doing radio, so we get it through our headphones, and I'm like, I might not.
That's exactly what I told them, too. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it was.
I had to let those boys know, man. And
that's it.
But you know what, though?
I wish would have played. If would have played them in the next year, would have beat them.
Oh yeah. Sure. What it told me was who you were as how confident of a player you were, and you played football. You can't win without dogs. I mean, you got to have guys.
You got to have them. You got to have them.
Guys that believe they're the best, that they can win.
And you got to do that for your team. You got to have that example.
Exactly.
You got little guys. You got little freshmen coming in.
Yep.
Shit, they just looking to see what you do, how you act. And you just hold that confidence and lead by an example.
Well, I think the other.
Go ahead, Robbie.
Yeah, I think the other big game for you was that I want to talk about is Lions just went to McNeese last weekend. McNeese was a top 5 team in the country, and y'all just went in there in October, and probably one of the biggest kickings, in that night. I mean, y'all just dominated those guys.
We can say it. It's our podcast.
Oh yeah, we dominated.
I mean, that was something else. But just talk about that McNeese game, and that was kind of the coming out party for the Lions in 2013, where not just in the conference but nationally, people said this team is for real.
Yeah, man, the hype. McNeese had a lot of hype. When I first got there, that was the first thing everybody was talking about was McNeese. McNeese, man, you got to beat McNeese, and that was the rival. And I had a friend from Texas Tech that actually played at McNeese. He was one of the receivers, so it just sparked the fire up even more for me. And like you said, I had to let those dogs out. I got Tyler Starter back there. Don't ever forget about Tyler Starter.
Right.
That's another guy that I think that will get his opportunity to get a jacket as well one day. But Tyler Starter was really, really good, you guys. A lot of people need to know that being a great linebacker, you got to have a great safety. It makes my job a lot easier back there. So, yeah, man, playing down and Tyler Starter dad had went to McNeese. Also, he played football there. So that man, it was just a thing where everybody wanted to be down on McNeese. McNeese was the game, and we made sure that. And that was a huge game for us, and it was crazy, man. It was amazing.
One of the pictures you see around here all the time, and I don't know if you've seen this. I'm sure if you watch this, Mark will put it up over this clip, but Justin Church, who was a defensive end for you guys, was just standing over one of their linebackers, or one of their linemen, as he had just kind of planted that guy.
That was an awesome picture, dude.
And that picture, I mean, people still show that around today. I think it's hanging up in the athletic building still. Man, and that summarized your defense with Coach Golding and Coach Scott. And I just, there's certain guys in this program, as long as we've been around it, because we were here before you got here, and we've been here obviously since, but there's guys in that group, and you're one of them, that just, this program wouldn't, I mean, I really mean this with all my heart. This program wouldn't be where it is today without guys like you. And that's just the true statement of Southeastern football. Tell the fans what you're doing now and where you're at these days.
So now I own my own business. I have a business partner, and I do work for Prince Steel. We do warehouse material handling systems. So I basically sell shelves, like the shelves that you see inside of an Amazon or a Gap. I basically sell those to all the warehouses around the nation, and I have a team that installs them and tear them down as well. So that's really good. We're on a high, fast-paced, growing right now company. So I'm running it out of Arizona here, man.
All right, man.
Just loving it, just
that's
loving
awesome.
the vibes over here.
Well, good for you. Keep it going.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, man. So I enjoy it. But also, I wanted to talk about. I think I saw Mark's daughter in Walmart when I was down there. She said, "Do you have a daughter?"
My niece, probably.
Your niece?
Yeah, but my brother's daughter. Yeah, that's who.
Oh, okay, yeah. It was so funny seeing her because I always tell her about the play from Samford. I guess she was calling it Q Hubert.
Yeah.
Q Hubert.
Southeastern will rush 4. He fumbles the ball in the backfield. He's going to go down way back in his 21. It's intercepted by Q Hubert. Q Hubert.
It was awesome, man.
Yeah.
It was awesome, dude. Man, I had so much fun in Southeastern, man. I love Hammond, man. I'm gonna try to come back, at least one time a year. Now, being
awesome.
Show some love and some support there to Hammond America.
Well, I know one of the biggest things that I missed to this day was watching you on kickoff return.
Man,
they just watch you light guys up.
Awesome,
I could watch a whole video of you just destroying guys.
That was awesome,
right?
man. That was awesome.
You took the Lions further than any team has ever taken them into the playoffs, into the national quarterfinals. So we'll see and hope the Lions can do that again this year and in the future. But, man, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame.
What do you think about this team? I know you probably watch them a little bit.
Yeah, I watch them. I think this team is a really good team. I think they got great potential. they got a good run that they're rolling. They're rolling right now with the W's in the conference, and they just got to keep it up. Just stick together. The leaders just got to, let those guys know that it's just 1 week at a time, and it's not about the opponent that you're playing. It's about you guys, So just focus on you guys. Take 1 week at a time, and just keep doing what you're doing.
That's awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's Q Hubert, Hall of Famer for your Southeastern Lions. He'll be in there forever. 100 years from now, he will still see Cqulin Hubert in the Hall of Fame of Southeastern. Thanks for visiting with us tonight. He's your Gateway Forward guest for the week. We'll be back with more after this on the Southeastern Sports Network podcast. Welcome back to the Southeastern Sports Network podcast. Robbie Rhodes, Mark Willoughby with you. Just finished up with our interview with Cqulin Hubert, Southeastern Hall of Famer. Now, Mark, I really meant what I said about guys like him, and obviously Brian Bennett comes to mind, but he was that first guy. Him. What was the safety's name? Theo something.
Theo Alexander. Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that came in, was a game changer on defense. That just made those plays, and it was just a special time at the end of that 2012 season to know where we were going, and there's probably. I think everyone had so much expectation for Brian Bennett in 2013, but my expectation built from that way we finished the season in 2012 into 13, if that makes sense, right? That's why I was excited to have Brian, to have the guys we brought in, obviously, but I was really excited because of how we finished 2012, and you could see it building. Ken Q's a guy that was one of the guys that made that happen.
Yeah, I wish we would have had more time to dig down into it. I mean, you could spend 2 hours with Q. I mean, he's awesome to talk to, and obviously cherished his time here at Southeastern. But going back to 2012, you had some overlap from Mike Lucas, his guys and guys Ron Roberts brought in.
Alex Stoddard was one of Mike Lucas's guys he talked about.
Yeah, exactly. Robert Alford. One. So you had to tie those guys in. Devin Walker, he mentioned Devin as well. But then you get guys like, obviously Q takes the leap of faith to come here as a transfer. And then, some of the other guys you brought in, you talked about Theo Alexander and John Graves and Kevin Harmon on defense. And then eventually
Jacob Newman,
those guys. You had Caleb Muse here from before, was a holdover. Drew Masita, and those guys, and Justin Church, and then
Greg Trier.
Greg Trier was
defensive
one
tackle.
He was recruited in 2012 with Q Hubert. So those guys all came in together and meshed, and it didn't get off to a great start. I remember Ron Roberts, bear crawling offensive lineman 100 yards down the football field in practice right before South Dakota State. Basically trying to run guys off, and nobody quit. You had one player quit, a running back who's no longer here anymore. But guys rallied around it. They were 0-3, and then we didn't get to dig into that McNeese 2012 game. I kind of wanted to do that, but that was kind of where it all started. It was guys like Q Hubert who laid that foundation. Then comes Brian Bennett in 2013, and you start that really magical 2-year run, and of course Ron Roberts' 6-year tenure here, and it's fed into today. With Frank Selfo, who's taken it and run with it, and has gotten this program to even bigger heights as far as consistency goes, and that's where we are now, and hopefully looking forward to another great season here in 2025.
Mark, Lions with a dominating performance. I mentioned the McNeese game in 2013 with Q as a dominating win. But this one might have been right up, well, not might have, it was right up there. I mean, Coach Selfo, class act guy, goes a long way back with Coach Viator and their families. Obviously had something to do with how the second half went. He just said, you know what, we're way better than them. They're not going to get back in this game. I don't need to come out here and embarrass anybody. And this team, they could have embarrassed them. They could have scored 70 points if they wanted to, the way that the first half went. But it was just looked at and said, hey, look, let's just go out there and make sure we get out of this game with no one else hurt. And it was just a dominating performance from the first snap. The interception by Ian just kind of set the tone for the game, and the Lions never looked back.
Yeah, you go back to 2013, that game, that was two good football teams that up, and Southeastern just got on a roll that night and steamrolled them. And it was just one of those games that got away from McNeese, and Southeastern just pounded. You felt like that they played 10 times. McNeese might get a few of them. That wasn't the case this past Saturday night. Southeastern was better at every position, just totally dominant. It's like they had no chance in this football game from the get-go. And even though the first series, they had a couple of sacks and, had some blitzes and they got home to the quarterback. But, once the game got into the teeth of the football game, Southeastern just absolutely dominated up front on both sides of the football. McNeese couldn't do anything offensively. Southeastern's get consistent front four pressure, which they have all year, but even more so in this ball game. You had Jake Strong on the run consistently. Wide receivers couldn't get open. He had no time to throw. They couldn't run the ball. They were totally handcuffed on offense. And then defensively, offensively for Southeastern, Anthony Selfo just continues to just grow into the offense coordinator's role. And he's getting more creative by the week. He's got two quarterbacks that he can play and getting all of his weapons involved. Really liked it when he got DeAndre Jackson and Brandon Hayes on the field at the same time. It just creates a lot of havoc for the defense. And McNeese didn't have any answers. So it was a totally dominant win, almost scary when you think about it, how good this team can be. Open date comes at a good time to get guys healthy, but you really like the way you're playing right now. But I know we'll talk about the rest of the schedule, but this team's right where they want to be after 6 ball games.
No doubt about it. And, the Southland Conference is setting up with some good games down the stretch. Obviously, people keeping their eyes on SFA and Lamar. UIW is still certainly hanging around. They're not totally out of it yet. They have somewhat of a hill to climb now with 2 conference losses.
Don't forget about UTRGV now. I mean, those guys.
Yeah, and they can get hot. I mean, they have some good players. They're well coached. Tough place to play down there, obviously, as it's going to turn out to be. So, but hey, look, it's still. I mean, anybody's still in it, really. McNeese could still find a way to get back in it. I guess with 2 losses, obviously, in the league's tough. But
Nichols,
Nichols is right there with only 1 loss in Southland play. So, they got a lot ahead of them. But it's going to be a tough fight down the road. Lions just got to take care of their own business and handle the games up that are in front of them. And one of the things that stood out about the McNeese game, I watched Coach Viator's post-game press conference, and he said they didn't do anything different. They didn't trick us. There was no surprise. What they put on tape what they put on tape in their first 5 games is what they did in the game. And he said they were kind of vanilla. They just were sound defensively, played their game, and made us pay for the mistakes that we made in the game, and that's the difference. So I'm right there with you. It was a dominating win and opportunity for this team to get healthy and bounce back with homecoming against Northwestern here in a little less than 2 weeks now, but should be an exciting opportunity.
Yeah, when you look at dominant football teams around the country and teams that can play defense where they just rush the front 4 and get home to the quarterback and can drop 7 and cover with 7, play zone and cover. And affect the quarterback, those teams win. And this Southeastern football team can do that on defense. You don't have to do a lot of exotic things, to affect the other team. And certainly the offense is multifaceted. They can run the football. The offensive line's playing outstanding. And this is a team, and I don't think people realize this, Southeastern has played without Holden Karakowski the last 2 weeks. Well, really, LSU, he didn't play. Mm-hmm. And he didn't play against UTRGV. He came back on Saturday against McNeese, but 2 other offensive linemen were out. So you had 2 starters out against McNeese on the offensive line, didn't miss a beat. And you're getting excellent quarterback play out of both guys. You're seeing guys like Jalen DiMaggio grow into his role as a dominant wide receiver. DeAndre Jackson has been the impact player we thought he would be. It's a 3-headed monster, 3.5-headed monster at running back. Tight ends get involved. I mean, it's starting to develop into a really good offense, and we've seen it grow. From the beginning of the year when you had 2 quarterbacks that hadn't taken a snap in 2 years, and playing a great Louisiana Tech defense, and you've seen it get better and better and better. And just how much better can they get? And I think we're seeing a football team ascend, and that's what you want to see.
Mark, great show as always. Want to thank Cqulin Hubert for being our guest this week. We'll enjoy this week off. We'll be back on Monday. We'll preview the homecoming game against Northwestern State and a whole lot more. So thanks to Q. Congratulations to him again for being a member of the Hall of Fame. And thanks for being with us tonight on the Southeastern Sports Network podcast. We'll talk to you next week as the Lions enjoy the bye week and get ready for homecoming against Northwestern State. For Mark Willoughby and Robbie Rhodes saying good night, line up. This has been the Southeastern Sports Network podcast.
3 wides out of an empty formation. Strong across the middle. That's intercepted. Coming back the other way. Who's got it? That is Goodley, and he's going to take it to the house. Ian Goodley, pick 6. Lions on the board.